Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Fernanda. I work at edunext, and in this talk, I am going to talk about LTI. What is the status of LTI 1.3 in Open edX, the current state, the ongoing work, and what's next? So see you there.
Hello everyone, my name is Maria Fernanda. I am a software engineer at edunext and also I am a core contributor in OpenEDX. I will talk about LTI, particular LTI 1.3 in OpenEDX 2025, the current state, the ongoing work, and what's next. But first, I want to tell you why I'm talking about LTI. And before that, like a quick review, LTI is a mechanism to communicate the tool and a platform. And yeah, basically is that if you want to interact, you have, oh my God, I am nervous. Over a lot. Okay, yeah, perfect. Wait a little bit. Yeah, LTI is only a standard for communicate to service and a platform and a tool. And if you are using OpenEDX as a platform, you can integrate different external tool, resource, and import in and use it in your courses. And if you are using the OpenEDX as a tool, you can use the content and the problems you have in OpenEDX in other platforms. So I start involving in LTI topic because my team in edunext create a proposal to improve the usability of LTI because it's not easy to use. We have implemented and also we comply all the LTI standards, but it's difficult. So part of my work was reviewing the proposal and leading it, and I found that that was the top of the iceberg. There was more at the bottom. We have opportunity to improvements behind that. And when I found, I thought I found the root of the of the problem, or maybe the point we need to improve to unleash the LTI potential. I found that some folks from the community already tried to solve part of the problem, and they did really great work, but it's not available for everyone. You need to configure some things, and also we still have some things to improve to really use LTI more widely. So for that, I want to use this space to share with you all the things I found and the opportunities we have around this technology. So let's do this. Okay, I want to start talking about what is LTI and why it's important, the current state. I am going to talk about the OpenEDX as a platform and an OpenEDX as a tool, the opportunities we have, the ongoing work, and what's next. Before doing that, I think there are these key concepts. The platform, previously known as the consumer, when we talk about platform, is the learning management system or the platforms that consume the content you want to use. And you have the tool that is a provider of that information resource you want to use in your platform. In this case, is an external application or service providing the functionality. Basically, that's it. And LTI, as I mentioned before, LTI is a standard. It's an acronym for Learning Tool Interoperability. It was created by edX, formerly known as IMS Global, and is like a set of rules or guides or framework to communicate between the platform and the tool. And why is this important? Well, first, enrich the user experience. If you have a course, you can use another set of tools that are available for you so the experience is more engaging for your users. Also allows seamless access, because imagine you need to log in multiple platforms to access to the content and resource you want to share. LTI solves that. And also we have a standardized communication system. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. And we can use LTI to promote our tools. For example, I don't know, right now we are talking a lot about AI initiatives, for example. So if we make them compatible with LTI, we can easily reuse the information and reaching a broader audience about that. So yeah, this is important. Helps the extensibility of the platform. And yeah, I want to share with you the current state in the LTI implementation in OpenEDX. OpenEDX as a platform like a consumer of information, we support LTI 1.1 and LTI 1.3 and LTI Advantage. What is the difference between LTI 1.3 and 1.1 is a different version. The first one have a older security system. The 1.3 is more updated and follow the standards in security, and also extend the functionalities we have. In this case, LTI Advantage. LTI Advantage is not that version. It's a suite of services. And we have three. The names and roles provisioning is the roster of your platform. You can share the information of the roles of your user in the tool. You have the deep linking suite of service, and the deep linking shows you a user interface, so you can pick exactly the content you want to share in your platform. And the assignments and grade is basically the tool have the ability to share the grades they obtain in their tool, exercise, resource in the platform, and then you can use it. So yeah, we support at OpenEDX, again, LTI 1.1, 1.3, and LTI Advantage. And also, we are certified for OneTech for have the LTI Advantage completion. That screenshot is from Sumac, but from Sumac and TIC, they are not so much different. The team of LTI working group will work on having the certificate for the TIC version, but yeah, we are like comply all the guides from the LTI standard. I want to share with you the current state, but based on antecedents we have. In previous conference, the OpenCraft team talked about deep dive into LTI 1.3, and they share some limitations. They explain a lot about the LTI and in depth about the services we support, but also they share limitations. For example, we have a plugin views dependent on the X block, and the course exporting port feature doesn't work, and they explain why. And they share the only single grade can be linked to the gradebook. Also, they share suggestions, and they already implement that. They remove the couple points between the plugin views and the X block. They transfer all the functions from the X block to the views. So we are decoupling that part, thanks, OpenCraft. And also they share that they were working on a pluggable LTI configuration that is LTI store, and they have the repo public, you can use it. And also in the conference in 2023, the 2U team talked about unlocking LTI, how we decouple the LTI launch from the OpenX platform. And I remember they talk a lot about the proctoring service and how they need to be able to launch the LTI outside the XBlock. So they found some limitations. The first one is basically the same as the first limitation, the Open Graph share, and it's already solved. Also, they share about the LTI configuration depend on the XBlock, but right now we have three forms of store the LTI configuration. We have external configuration that OpenGraph use for the LTI store. We have the database configuration that is the 2U team are using, and also we have the default, the no recommended way, the XBlock, but it's the default for the platform. But we already have forms to change that. And also they talk about the contextual data from the platform for make it usable, the LTI. Part of the standard, you need to share the contextual data, and they manage to improve the LTI consumer to make it possible to share the contextual data via query parameter. So yeah, we cover the limitations they have. And also they propose, the first thing they propose is avoiding the storing the LTI configuration in the XBlock. As I mentioned, you can have three ways to do it, but right now the default way is the XBlock, so I put like a red mark there. You can do it, but you need to configure some things. Also, they suggest decouple LTI advantage service, the three I mentioned before. And yeah, right now they are not fully decoupled. And then separate the LTI implementation to the XBlock, like separate the library and the XBlock. And they are not fully, we are not in that state right now. So yeah, another intervention we have was the proposal about LTI redesign project. The edunext team created, but also we have a lot of help from Schema. They review everything, and they were very involved in the proposal. And the main message here is it's complex to add LTI tools and reuse it. So we need to find ways to make it easier. And the suggestions are having LTI consumer active by default, improve the graphical editor, fix the usability, and have the render for LTI in a studio. We don't have it right now. Yeah, that's it. Another thing I want to share with you is based on the previous antecedent. I want to share the dependencies we have right now. This graph is from a command line PyDeps I run and shows what models are related to each one. Particular, I want you to focus on the LTI XBlock. We use LTI XBlock for the LTI consumer API, for the LTI consumer plugin, and the data. They are like linked, like API, plugin, and data depends on LTI XBlock. So like this is the panorama, the map we have, and we need to think a little bit more about how we can make this dependency graph more decoupled. That's the idea. And what happens if I want to share my OpenEDX content with other platforms? I think this is a topic in previous conference we didn't talk much, and is if, for example, I am an instructor and I spend a lot of time creating content for OpenEDX, how I can use that content and problems in other platforms. So we need to talk about OpenEDX as a tool. So in my knowledge right now, we have some alternative. I found two. The first one is the Django Apps LTI provider. This is part of the edX platform code. Is built in. You don't need to install anything weird. If you are using OpenEdX, you already have it. It supports LTI 1.1, so you can use your content in other platforms that supports LTI 1.1. Also, I want to mention that OneEdTech, that is the company or the organization that supports these standards, not support LTI 1.1, only supports LTI 1.3 because the security standards they have. So yeah, we have that. And also is a core OpenEdX community support, so we don't need to do much about it. But I think we have that functionality very forgotten a little bit. And recently for the TIC release, we update the documentation and try the documentation around this, and it works. But yeah, we have to take a look at this again. And also for the necessity, the requirement of use LTI 1.3, the Pearson team, part of the community of OpenEdX, they create a LTI tool plugin. Is a Pearson development plugin. It supports LTI 1.3 and supports LTI Advantage. You can share grades and deep linking with it. If I remember, you can launch courses, units, and components for problems, specific content. And for the deep linking, you have support of courses. And we can have support for name and roles, but it's not implemented yet. But it's a person proposal. It's an OpenEdX community support. They are happy to share with you this information and invite you to try it and write issues if you need it. But here we need some alternative, like by default in OpenEdX, because if you have your installation, you don't have support on LTI 1.3 as a tool. So probably bring this to OpenEdX. I don't know, but we need to figure out how to make OpenEdX as a tool because it's important. If you spend like 10 years creating content in OpenEdX, you want a way to share that information. So yeah. Opportunities I found, like seeing a big picture and the ecosystem necessities. Right now, I think we are talking a lot about competency-based education, and LTI is part of a key for verifying the skills in today's evolving education system. And so if we improve how we use how we can use LTI, definitely we are going to contribute the competency-based education. And also I found part of the community have a proposal about improving and visually configure course component. This proposal boosts the visibility of central configuration and encourage the people to use different type of components in your course. And also, recently I was reading about content libraries, and this is more like a thing we need to think a little bit about it, because for LTI improvements to be sustainable, it's crucial to consider internal platform development, particularly with content libraries. I read that we are not using X module, we are using learning core. So for the export and import course, we need to take a look because maybe can affect how we can import, export. So it's something to take into account. It's like, and based on all the information I shared with you, this is an opinionate opportunities and challenge I found, and I prioritize. Well, I don't prioritize. I only like divide in categories. Right now, in the consumer side, as my team say in the proposal, it's very difficult to configure and exchange credentials between the tool and the platform. So an instructional designer like feel, oh my God, I need to use LTI. I don't want to do it. So an important thing to do here, my opinion again, is dynamic registration is something is like public, but we don't have implemented yet. And with that in mind, also fix the reusability. I know that using LTI store, for example, from OpenCraft, we already have that part fixed, but it's not the default way, and also is not an easy way to do it. You need to configure a lot of things to use that option. Also, the review of the import and export feature of course in OpenEdX around LTI is important thing if you want to export your course and still using your configuration. Also, we have technical and architectural things. We need to decouple the edX block from the core library. We still have points there and dependencies there, and revisiting the reusability with advantage. That part is, I think, is an important one, because imagine we solve the reusability and you have like I don't know, a Zoom meeting or a problem and you are going to use, you can, right now, you can link the grades independently, and you probably want it because you have two components in different space in your course. So right now they are like linked to the X block. We need to think a little bit more about it. And also for the provider side, using OpenEdX as a tool, like for be the resources of information that other platforms can consume, we need to support LTI 1.3. And maybe, I don't know, is bring to the conversation the tool plugin that Pearson maybe did, or use part of the progress and have something for ourselves. I don't know, but it's a conversation we need to have. And based on that, the ongoing work is we have an LTI working group. You can access to the Slack with the hashtag product LTI. And we use that space to talk about the products requirements we have as a community. But I think we need to prioritize. Like we need to join the conversation and identify and prioritize the challenge that really unleash the potential, because room for improvements, we are going to have that. But right now, we have like the difficult part. We already have implemented the mechanism, the standard, and we meet that requirements, but it's difficult to use. So it doesn't make much sense. It should be more easily to use. And yeah, basically unleash the LTI potential, because it's a form of extensibility from our platform, and use it more. I think that's it. It was early. I didn't expect to go so fast, but that's the message I want you to give. We already have implemented LTI, and we cover like the rules and the guides and everything, but for an instructor and a student, the final user really can like take advantage of all that potential, and the problem is like behind how we implement that. And we are very, as a community, solve part of the problem. And yeah, we need to like finish and connect the lines to reach the potential of LTI. Thank you. I have this scan. You can scan the code, and you are going to be able to see all the presentation and also the reference. I am going to wait a little bit for you can take a screenshot or. But yeah, you have reference here, and you can enter in the links of all the conversation around the LTI. So yeah, I don't know if you have any questions. It was quickly. I don't know if I talk like faster or.
First of all, thank you for wrapping up so many things about LTI. Yeah, from OpenCraft, I was one of those devs who worked on the LTI store, and it's nice to get your software get mentioned in talks by other people. So thank you for that. Now the question I have is around discoverability. Like that's one of the reasons we created that LTI store plugin, which is reusability. So
Yeah.
once you configure it, before the LTI store, what we had was for each course that needs configuration, somebody has to add an X block, and then it will generate a new URL along with some keys, like cryptographic keys, that you need to copy and paste it into the tool, and the tool will give you a set of URLs and keys that you need to paste it back into your X block. And the course basically authors were like, okay, every time we reuse this tool in our course, we need to do this over and over again. And we were like, okay, we can simplify that a little bit. What we can do is there is this parameter called deployment ID, which lets you reuse these cryptographic keys for across multiple deployments of the same tool. And that's what we did, try to do at least. We only could manage it up to 1.1, and I think you guys came in, or somebody else from 2U came in and did the 1.3 support. But to this day, the auto discoverability remains a challenge, mostly because I see it, one, it needs to exchange keys for the platform and the tool to trust each other. We need to exchange cryptographic keys, and there doesn't seem to be a direct way to do it without manually like copying it from one end and posting it on the other. And I haven't kept up with LTI development in like a year or more than a couple of years, I think, by now. And do we have any updates on that? Is there like something like a well-known URL that tools kind of post these days, which allows you to automatically grab these keys and import it into the platform? Like anything on those lines?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Are you sharing? Yeah. Because I want everyone's know what are you talking about. Yeah. This is the LTI consumer, the image you see there. Is the X block of the component you see when you're add a tool and a configuration. And as the OpenCraft team said, we have to share the URL key set and the URL token access and all the information between the platform and the tool for the registration. The answer of that question is we still need to do that. With your pluggable configuration, we can do it like once and reuse it, but you always, for now, you need to always share that information between the platform and the tool. So yeah, we have that pain. And also, it's a manual configuration, so you can insert some manual errors, and it's not a good idea. Right now, there is a dynamic registration mechanism. We don't have that implemented in OpenEDX. That was part of my opportunities challenge proposal because it's like magic. I tried it once, and you can only like share a link, and with that you have the connection and the registration between the platform and the tool. But right now we don't have that. It's part of the proposal I am doing. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, perfect. More questions? We have time. We can, yeah, you can bring me more.
Hi, so I'm working on content libraries, and it's, as you pointed out, it seems like a very good fit to be able to publish content library items in LTI.
Yeah.
I guess if I want to add LTI provider support for content library contents, what is the place that I should start? Should I start with the Pearson plugin? Should I start with what's already in edX platform?
Depends on the version you want to use. For example, if you have your content, but if you want to use your content in, I don't know, Moodle, you need to check if Moodle supports 1.1. If Moodle supports 1.1, you can use what already is in the edX platform code. You don't need to install anything, and you can follow the documentation. Is updated for since tick, so you can follow the instructions. And also, I know for Moodle works, yeah. But if you want to use the standard, because LTI 1.1 is not the supported version, we use a older security system, and you want to use Advantage, and you need to use the Pearson plugin.
Do you see any sort of major obstacle of sort of the Pearson plugin becoming the default thing? Like like technically, like, you know.
No, I didn't see some like red flags or something, but I think I bring that topic into the talk and also into the group to start the conversation around that, to see what Pearson did is a good fit for the community needs. Right now, they perform and develop the plugin with their necessities and requirements. But yeah, for example, if we want names and roles, is something we need to add. For example, the deep linking only works right now for courses. So we need to figure out what requirements as a community we need. So we can, but red flags, I didn't see any, but it's something we need to look at.
Okay.
Because it's not like I am going to decide we are going to, no. It's not like that.
All right, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
I have a specific pain point with LTI, so this is very timely. I have an LTI tool that I've built, and I've gotten to the point of the integration that we've kind of showed here. You do all the complex, sharing of keys, and you get the authentication, you get the grade back. Great. But it opens in a new window, and I would love to have it embedded in the course. And I don't know if that's an LTI problem or some other problem. Am I able to take an LTI tool and embed it in the course so that the user doesn't have to go off platform to experience it?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Yeah. So I have an LTI tool, and the integration works, but the user has to open it in a new tab and go to it. And I get all these errors when I try to integrate in the course. They're like CORS related and cookie related. I don't know if it's an LTI issue or not, but that's what I'm dealing with now. I wonder if you've solved that or looked into it.
No, well, I think it's a specific problem we need to look at more in deeply.
Yeah. You have what?
Yeah.
I can add a partial answer to that.
Please, yeah. I'd love.
So the challenges are twofold.
Grab the box.
So yeah, the challenges are basically like twofold. The first part being, I mean, if it launches on a new tab, that's the only problem. I think the XBlock has a check mark which says launch it on an iframe or launch it as embed. You can use that. That's half of your issue. The second half of the issue has to deal with the browser content security policy that's been introduced aggressively in the last couple of years. because we worked with the LTI 1.1 provider that's inbuilt into the platform and discovered that every time an LTI 1.1 launch happens, the platform is actually creating an anonymous user, even though the launching, for in this case, I will use Canvas as an example of the consumer and OpenEdX being the provider. So whenever Canvas launches an X block in the LTI form, ideally what should happen is it should grab the email that Canvas is sending forward in a specific query parameter and should be able to pick up the right user from the database because the user already exists in OpenEdX as well as in Canvas, if that's the case. But what happened was we discovered a bug because of these content security policies that were introduced, that irrespective of the email matching, it would always create a new anonymous user with an anonymous username or whatever. So when passing back grades back, like in 1.1, so it would send the grades back with a completely random username and the email ID, and that's the bug that we discovered. But again, partial answer, I don't have a clear answer on this, but that's to deal with the browser's security issues that are being aggressively pushed these days, the last couple of years.
Change if you're, it sounds like something that would change if you're opening a new window versus trying to embed it in an
So
iframe. Is that a separate issue?
in partially the same issues, because your tool needs to set, I think, some certain browser headers which allows your consumer, in this case, I think the OpenEdX is the consumer, and whatever URL you are hosting on should be allowed by the tool to launch it in an iframe. A lot of these tools might or might not have. That's something that you talk to the tool provider and figure it out. But that there are certain headers, I forget the headers exactly, but there are certain headers that you need to set from the tool for you to be able to launch it as an iframe within your platform.
Yeah.
Just a second, a question to you.
Yeah, don't worry.
Just to be sure on that side about John's questions, we had the experience that it could be also related to the let's say the provider security, for example, integrating Microsoft Learning with OpenEdX. They do, as a product, they do not allow to stay in the iframe. So if you have to try to find out a workaround, which is very complex because it's Microsoft. So they force you to open another Windows. It's really forced from Microsoft. It's not that it's not working.
I think
So
I saw that issue. I think I did
and
fix
there is
that
a lot
issue.
of
Yeah.
information in edX trying this out, and at the end there is no solution so far as I know, because we had a similar problem. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know if anyone. Okay.
All right. All right. So the question I'm going to raise is not specific to this topic, but I think more on the general kind of. There's always features in OpenEDX that work, but they're
Okay.
kind of.
Okay.
And it goes on for a long time. So the same problem we had with the anonymous user, and I don't know if that changed with 1.3, but because it was a while back. But it feels like problems are identified, discussed, and then never really put on a execution plan.
Okay.
So, and in the meantime, there's a lot of development hours spent across all the
Community.
users
Okay.
on like identifying the problem, trying to figure it out, failing. So I feel like how do we get everyone to kind of like just focus, or someone to take ownership of it to resolve the problem within a reasonable time?
Yeah, well, the first thought I have around that is if you have the necessity and you implement something, try to bring that to the community, and we as a community figure out how we use that to solve like everyone's problem, because Probably another provider or client have the same issue. So my suggestion there is try to contribute more of the community. And about the conversation, to not stuck in conversations right now, we have in the product working group the process of proposal and ideas. At edunext, we have a proposal of specifically improve the LTI process. We have an idea, but we are reaching feedback from the community to prioritize the things that really unleash the proposal. And for that proposal in specific, you can reach me out because I am leading the proposal. But yeah, if you have some project you want to bring the conversation to the community, we're really open about it. But yeah, it's like we need to work for that.
Yeah.
It's not like I am going to suggest and
Okay.
wait for others to do it.
So it's more of an operational or problem than a technical dependency,
it is.
right? So there's no like technical dependency that's stopping it from being done, but it just needs someone to take it on and do it.
Yeah, and for that reason, well, we are working, we have a proposal and we are reaching feedback. Because, again, problems are, or challenges or room for improvement, we always want to have one, but we really want to prioritize the things that make this more usable and more easy for everyone. So, yeah. Feedback.
I would also say try to find a working group. There's a bunch of them. They meet weekly at various times. And join one of those, get in the call, get your ideas out there, and they may be able to help as well.
Yeah, for the LTI, we have the LTI working group, and I am leading the working group, and I am looking for that feedback. Yeah.
So a couple different comments, one of which is, apropos of what you were asking, I wanted to really thank Moffer for her contribution to moving forward our thinking about LTI with her investment in diving into the UX and coming and laying it out for us on the operating table, so to speak. And I wanted to say, I can't agree with you more that the UX is a huge barrier to using it.
Yeah.
I would say I find it is nearly unusable. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it is.
And I think, I recently did my own kind of big side experiment to see what it would take to use reusable LTI configs, and I got it working. I've been working on the platform for 12 years. I can imagine that 99.9% of course authors would never figure it out.
Yeah.
So, I'm just trying to be very transparent about what I think the current state of it is, and I think it's an urgent place for us as a community to rally and to repair this. And I think there's good news here too, though. I think the fundamentals are kind of the hardest part, and they work.
Yeah.
But for example, you can't really put LTI components in libraries because when you create a new reference, it creates a new usage key, and it makes you it regenerates the cryptographic signatures that you need to share with the LTI tool provider. So it means that it's no longer usable in that context. You can't copy and paste them either because it does the same thing. I think having reusability of LTI components should be trivial. The complexity of configuring them we can't make go away entirely, even with great UX. But if we have experts configuring them and instructors using them, and it's completely, one click for them to do so, I think that's what we need.
Yeah, thank you. More questions? If not, I think we are good to go. Thank you all for being here and start talking about this because it's important. And see you there. If you want to read, you can contact me.